Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andrew Romero, and I'm here with the Basic Boys, and we're doing the Back to Basics podcast. This podcast is where we're going to just be covering some random topics. Today, we're going to hit on a little bit more dating talk.
Yeah!
And I'm here with the boy Manny and Francisco.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Manny. Man, this is really good to be on camera with these boys because this is something we've been talking about for a minute. But yeah, let me just give y'all a brief introduction on myself. My name is Manny Salas. Y'all can follow me at MannySoFresh_209 on Instagram. Yeah, man, I'm originally from the Central Valley. Moved to the Bay Area when I was probably like in the middle of third grade, and that's when I actually met this guy right here. Yeah, and then Francisco, he put me in contact with Andrew, and they'll give you guys a little bit more of a backstory on how they met. But yeah, that's my little introduction.
What's up, everybody? My name is Francisco. My boys call me Cisco. So I grew up in Rose City, California. I've been knowing this boy right here to my left, Manny, right here, since third grade. We play sports with each other. We play flag football, basketball, up until 8th grade. Then when I hit high school, I met my boy over here, Andrew. We played football. He was my left tackle. I was the left guard. And, I introduced him. We're just trying to get this podcast going. We feel like this is something we want to talk about, just have conversations here and there. I feel like this is just that couch talk. So I'll pass it over to Andrew.
It's great to have you all here. Like I said, like Manny said, we've been planning this for 2 weeks now. We've had countless phone calls, countless meetups, just talking about it, setting all this shit up. It's great to be here. It's great to finally get started with y'all. Again, I'm Andrew Romero. I'm from Eastside San Jose. Born and raised here. Spent 1 year in Austin, Texas for college. But I went to St. Francis High School with my boy Francisco right here. And that's we hooked up while playing football. As we kind of got hella close. And hooked up not in the sexual way, y'all. How to make that clear? Nah. But he was my left guard. I was a left tackle at the time.
Or did we?
He was a lucky guy.
Nah, I'm just playing.
But yeah, so we kind of want to just talk about random topics with this podcast. But this one's kind of be a little bit more dating talk. And again, going for to call a podcast, we'll have different topics and more recurring topics like dating.
Andrew was really pushing for this one, y'all. Andrew was really pushing for the dating topic today. So look, your boy's been out the game for the past 7 years. I've been in a relationship for the past 7 years since I was in high school, which is kind of crazy to think of. That's like a third of my life. But I'll try and give my insight from a cuffed perspective.
I think this is a bit different for me. When I was in high school, obviously Andrew knows, I was with the girl for a while, then when I hit college, things didn't go that way. Obviously, sometimes just go your different ways. I met a different girl. I was with her for about 3 years, and then that ended as well. I think this is going to be a different perspective as well, coming from a single perspective when it comes to dating. Right now it's just a pretty hot topic.
Yeah, for me personally, I went through my little player phase back in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But after that, I've just been kind of in and out of relationships. But for the past year, I've been single, been working on myself. Getting that self-development in, self-care. This year, kind of putting it into the works. But you never stop working on yourself. But let's get this shit going.
Wait, real quick. Are we looking at the camera or are we not looking at the camera?
There we are.
We are? Okay, because I haven't been making eye contact with y'all.
I'm just over here just engaging you guys, I'm just trying to pay attention to my boys. All right, you got to go on, bro. Come on.
Yeah. Andrew's going to be the lead host today because he's, he feels seriously about these topics. Crazily enough, we were actually at a little kickback, if you want to call it that, a little kickback at my girl spot. And Andrew, we actually brought up some of these topics. We won't get into the specifics, but we brought up some of these topics. And let's just say it went left. It didn't go the best, with my girl's friends. So, yeah, we're Andrew may or may not be the controversial one right here in this little friend group, but hey, but that's good. We like controversy. It's all good.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Maybe
I think
not.
everybody has their personal opinion and anything that we talk about. So we're open to hearing anybody's opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we're here to talk about. But we're gonna talk about our opinions. If you guys fuck with them, let us know. We're just here to see if we can vibe with y'all. This is how we think about the current dating scene. I mean, anybody can see it any different way. We're not gonna discriminate. Everybody has their own way of living their life.
I mean, generally, honestly, the point of this podcast is just to get people talking about the topics that we bring up, like just creating a healthy environment where we can just have a conversation and maybe open up each other's eyes, and eventually, if we bring guests on, open up their eyes to certain topics, whether that be, like I said, dating, whether it be more like ghost stories or whatever. Or sports even. I kind of want to talk about that. Tom Brady retiring.
Just basic shit. Hey, anything that comes to mind, I mean, right? We literally, I'm pretty sure people every day just talk about what they want to talk about. But literally just talking about it with y'all, with everyone else, this is what gets us going, Like, we wish we could talk to anybody about this, but this is more, I feel like, more spoken to a bigger audience. So I feel like if you see it that way, like, you get to hear other people's opinions, so you fuck with them more.
Yeah, I mean, we have something to learn from everybody out there, and that's a true belief of mine. And I try to humble myself down whenever I meet someone new or talk to someone new, to realize like I could learn something from this person, whether it be big, small, whatever. I could learn you could learn something from everybody, and that's kind of like what the point of this is too.
And I think now in this day and age, it's more important than ever to be open-minded. It doesn't matter what perspective you're on. Like, nowadays people lean towards one direction or another direction, and they're so quick to cut off the opposing person's opinion. Like, at the end of the day, we're all entitled to our opinion. You can disagree with my opinion, I can disagree with yours, but I'm going to be willing to hear out your opinion first before I try and shut down anything you have to say. If I disagree with your opinion after the fact, then I disagree with it after the fact, but it's at least allowing there to be a platform for, us to have an active communication.
I think everybody lives their life in different ways. When it comes to the dating scene, we all go through different phases in our life. We go through different experiences that make us experience the way we're going to experience our life. Not everybody's going to live their life the same, because then it wouldn't be right. There has to be different people in this world. So I feel like that's when it comes to our opinions as well. I mean, everybody's going to have different opinions, just like my boy said. We're all open to hearing what everybody got to say.
So speaking of opinions, what's y'all's opinion on like today's dating scenes and like what some may call hookup culture?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give my opinion first, just because I feel like mine's going to be the most brief, since I'm not in the dating culture. But I mean, from what I've seen, on the internet and whatnot, I mean, the dating scene seem to be kind of casual. Like, am I against that or am I not against that? I don't have anything wrong with that. I think it's just dependent upon everybody's needs. Like, some encounters are super casual, and I think that's what's glorified on social media. Hot boy summer, hot girl summer, whatever it is, that's what people talk about. And if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into, because everybody kind of goes through their little phases. Some of us don't. But I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to needs, your personal needs, whether you need to get that out of your system, whether you don't. But I mean, eventually there's going to come that time where you need that deep relationship with somebody. So, I don't have a problem with the current dating scene. I think it's been this way and it'll always be that way, in terms of there being casual encounters and there being, deeper encounters. I feel like when it comes to dating, there's pretty much those two options.
So I think for me personally, when it comes to this type of question, when you're obviously in a relationship, your mindset is literally like in a whole different like world. You're not thinking about, what, I want to do this with this person, or you're not thinking the way a single person would think, right? Because you're not tied down. like I'm saying, when you're with somebody, you're not tied down, obviously. And when you're single, like you could think different ways and not feel guilty because you could do whatever you want, right? And I wasn't thinking like that at that time when I was, cuffed up. But now that I'm single, it kind of changed your perspective in a way. I feel like it's all about the hype. Everybody wants to like, do what everybody else is doing. Like sleep with as many people as possible. Kind of just to gain that like notoriety. But it all depends, like Manny said, it all depends like on what you need. I mean, maybe you want to be with other people, okay? I mean, if that satisfies you, but it just all depends. I mean, he has a point when it comes to you needing that special type of love, but sometimes it is kind of hard to find that connection with somebody else. There's always going to be that one specific person meant for you, and if you can't find it within the first person, that's okay. But if your intentions are to like go sleep around, then I mean, if that works for you, that's fine too. I mean, right?
But I mean, like, do you guys really think like promiscuity is good for our society? Like, what like, is it good? Like, people are gonna do it no matter what. Like, I would agree with you. Like, people are gonna do it no matter what, and I just think that we have put so much importance on sex that it's just kind of like it's glorified. It's not what it used to be. Like, I'm all for like casually dating someone, but like if I'm just casually seeing someone, do I have to be sleeping with them? Not necessarily. I feel like sex should be kind of held more revered now. I feel like now it is what it is. Like, oh, sex is just like holding hands, and like it's not special anymore.
See, my thing is like, all right, when somebody says that to people when they have sex, they always say that there could be two people and they don't give a fuck, right? I kind of don't believe that. I feel like in my experiences, like there's always somebody that's gonna freaking catch feelings, right? I feel like the majority. I haven't met. I mean, people say that there could be two people they just want that, but I feel like somebody for some reason ends up catching feelings because they have that special type of connection. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like maybe I could be wrong, but that's what I feel like I've experienced.
I mean, when it comes down to that, I think catching feelings happens if you've had less sexual partners. Like, think about it. Like, those people that you meet that have hooked up with X amount of people, right? Like, the higher numbers. Do you think they really form that big of a bond? Or they've had so much casual sex that it's just numb to them now? Like,
nah, you're right. Okay, you got me there. Yeah, you didn't. Now, that makes sense. Yeah, I see what you're coming from.
Like, think about it, dude. Like, there's girls out there that have crazy high body counts. Like, there's up in the 300s, dude. And the more you do something, like, it's just like drugs, right? The more you do drugs, the higher your tolerance gets, right? The more numb you become to its effects. So the lower body...
I think it just depends on the person, though. I mean, there's some people that can have that little phase and they're done. Compared to people, that's all they want to do. I mean, they can stop, but then when they do it again, they're going to do it for a while. And they're going to stack up a lot. So that it's just dependent on the person.
But our biology says that when we have sex, we release oxytocin into our brains upon orgasm. Guys do it in a less amount than girls, but both parties still release oxytocin in their brains. So imagine if you're having sex, and like oxytocin is a mating drug, right? It gives us this euphoria feeling, and like again, like that's what I kind of consider it, like the mating drug, or the mating hormone. And if we're going ahead and like having a lot of sex, we just like weed, just like alcohol, the more you have it, the more numb you become to it. And like that's why like it feels like as a society as a whole now, we don't look as sex isn't special anymore. But back in like the 50s, like 60s, sex was special. Sex was supposed to be something held between two loving people. When's the last time you guys heard someone say that? Sex is for something between two loving people.
Well, like I was saying, I feel like that's like some Romeo and Juliet type of thing, right? But it's just dependent on like the people. Like yes, in our day and age, right? Like there is more people having sex, like basically just they're having one night stands, right?
But that's how it's portrayed. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, imagine our society used to praise the story of Romeo and Juliet, and now as a society, when's the last time you've seen a Romeo and Juliet story on TV? No, all you see is casual sex on TV.
But I think it's crazy though, because even though you may see that on TV, I've seen like statistics on the internet that show that, you know, people are having less intimacy than they were back in the 60s. So, I mean, I think they're inversely related in that sense. You feel me? Like in the 60s, for example, people's intimacy is through the roof. I mean, I'm sure. And then I think I saw the statistic too where it was like, you know, people having those encounters, that's been trending downwards, you know, historically. We're at a historical low. People aren't having the same level of intimacy as they were back then. So I think even though it's painted on the media, the actual amount of encounters is less, or I mean, it could be that it's between, you know, a concentrated group of people maybe. But I think even though it's in our society more, statistics are proving otherwise. So I don't know what the relationship there would be, but yeah, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, you know how you were just saying right now, like when do you ever see like that loving in like any type of show or like movie? But I feel like when it comes to love in these movies, it's showing that perception that you would think of love, but that's not how it really is. It's like a fairy tale. I feel like a lot of these girls think, or just anyone that has that type of like mindset, things like those type of movies that, oh, that's how love is supposed to be. But I mean, not necessarily, because you're always gonna have your bad times too, so you kind of have to work through those.
My argument to that is how many people live like Jersey Shore, how many people actually live like the Kardashians. Like, you're saying that, like, that's not the type of love you actually see in person. But then, like, all these other popular TV shows, how often do you actually see that stuff in person as well? Like, yeah, there's obviously some sitcoms that try to be a little bit more realistic, right? But some of these also other poppin' shows, how often do you see, like, that kind of, like, actual lifestyle?
So what do you mean by that? Like, in terms of, like... Okay, I guess Jersey Shore, for example. What do you mean in terms of that lifestyle? Like people hooking up? Like, so are people hooking up less?
I think I know what he's saying. So are you saying like? I think I know what he's saying. I think you're. No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Talk?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I fucked up.
I think I know what he's saying. You're saying like basically, in the culture right now, like in the whole. I mean, are you trying to say the whole world or U.S.?
No, I'm saying like, yeah, I see where your argument's coming from. Where you're saying like, you call it, when do you see that in real life?
No.
You're saying like, when
you're seeing more of like, you're seeing more of that in our day and age, right? That's what's being promoted more when it comes to TV shows, movies. That's okay. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Like live that type of lifestyle. That's cool. That's what you're supposed to fuck with.
No. I'm saying like, because your argument, from the way I understood it, was that you don't see Romeo and Juliet love stories in real life, so people are trying to watch what you see in real life. All right, like that was your kind of argument. Like, how often do you see like that type of love story happen? Am I wrong? Is that what your argument was, right? How often do you see that in real life? My argument was then like, how often do you see the Kardashians or Jersey Shore lifestyle, like their lifestyle in real life? Like they're completely
more. I feel like you see it more, right? More drama.
So you see the Kardashian level of drama, like the outlandish shit they do.
I mean, in terms of being a hoe or like
the multi-million-dollar lifestyle they live. How relatable is that?
I mean, all that is fake, bro. It's not relatable.
It's all show. I understand, but like at the same point, like I bet you all of them are hooking up.
Okay.
I mean, I guess what's the point of you bringing up them TV shows? Like, how are you trying to relate it back to your main point? Like,
so I'm saying, like, you call it, because Francisco is making the argument that Romeo and Juliet stories aren't popular because they're not relatable to real life.
Okay.
But then I'm saying, how relatable is the Kardashians or shows like the Kardashians and Jersey Shore are to real life? Because how often are you seeing those kind of lifestyles, like those rich $1 million lifestyles, or living a lifestyle with like 5 party animals in a house and they all hook up with each other? How often do you see that in real life? Well,
I mean, I think honestly, like, I feel like, do either of them matter? Because I mean, I feel like there's a lot of romantic movies out there, you feel me, like romance movies in the TVs. So I wouldn't say Romeo and Juliet stories don't exist anymore. I think they're still on TV. I think the amount of attention that they get is probably less because, you know, as unfortunate as it is, but nobody likes to see positive, you know, anything positive on media anymore. You know, people like to see drama. People have short attention spans. They want to see 4 or 5 second clips of, you know, the Kardashians arguing with one another. So, I mean, I think both are unrealistic, you know. It's a matter of the morals that they're pushing onto us, you know. Like if you see like Kim Kardashian, for example, right? She's known for dating a whole bunch of people, you know. So
she's known for being a hoe, and I'm saying
so. And so that's what I'm saying. Like if those morals are the ones that are being pushed onto our kids, or not even just our kids, people in our generation, you know, who grew up watching that, then obviously there's going to be those less deep relationships, you know.
That's exactly what I'm saying is a problem.
Yeah.
That we're promoting that, and like yeah, people are more interested in that, but for all the wrong reasons. You see what I'm saying? Because the morality of it is terrible, and that's what's becoming popular, and that's what's popping. So we chase that instead of pushing more positive influences down. Because frankly, like you said it yourself, it affects our younger generation. Because no matter what, it trickles down, right? We tend to have this trickle down effect. And even though we wish it would only be us, like watching it and talking about it, since it's popular, since it's trending, obviously it's making its way onto social media. Social media has been more accessible than ever before, and all these young kids are seeing it, growing up wanting to be just like that, and popularizing sex and popularizing hookup culture instead of the traditional values, which has proven to work every single time. But this new whole like hookup culture is kind of ruining society. Because honestly, you guys answer this: does a high body count matter to you guys?
You answer that one, Francisco.
It's complicated when you think about that, right? I mean, okay, if you're younger and have a higher body count at a younger age, I mean, you can't just say you're just trying to experiment. You're kind of making that into a lifestyle at that point, right?
Okay, but example like this, even in your 30s, right? Even in your 30s, mid to late 30s, even, would you marry a girl who has a body count of like 100, 150?
Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be like, okay, what the fuck? Right? Like, damn. But okay, I feel like I would have that reaction, but it's just the person in me that says, okay, I don't know, I can't really trust that. If it was that, like, you know how like much effort you gotta put in to do that? That has, like I said, that has to be your lifestyle. So if you could just switch out of that lifestyle like that, like, I'm gonna be a little like, oh, it's a little sus, right?
Well, yeah, you believe that people follow their behavioral patterns, right?
Exactly.
Like the other saying, like, once a cheater, always a cheater. Like, imagine if you're gonna date a girl and you found out she's cheated on her man 7 times, like the past 7 guys that she's cheated on, she's been in a relationship with, she cheated on every single one, right? And then she finally gets to you. Are you gonna trust that girl to cheat or not to cheat?
Nah, I mean, obviously you can't trust somebody like that. Like, if they have a history of cheating, you can't be surprised if they cheat on you.
Exactly. So like if a girl has a high body count, exactly like you're saying, Francisco, she's lived that lifestyle. Like how like it's gonna be hard to pull out of that lifestyle once you taught your mind to think like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not gonna bash on everybody that has a high ass body count and say you don't want to settle down at one point. I mean, everybody's different out there, but I'm just saying, like, we're quoting statistics. I feel like it would be a higher percentage that people would go back into that type of lifestyle.
Well,
Because you were so used to it at one point, maybe you could hit, kind of a rock bottom at one point if you're in a relationship, and then you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do what I was doing before because I was just fine, and you were maybe you were happy at that point. Who knows?
well,
You know?
I haven't quoted any statistics right now. So far, the statistics do show that people with higher body counts, both men and women, do tend to have higher divorce rates. There is a correlation there, and that's so. But that's kind of like what I was saying is like you like once you have that behavioral pattern, it sticks with you, right? And the statistics kind of do support that. Like there is a correlation between how many bodies both men and women have versus the divorce rates they have. And it's a positive correlation. So once one goes up, the other goes up too. I'm not saying like that's true for everybody. And obviously like I'm not saying that it's going to stop people. But I am saying that it's something to consider. And it's something to think about when we're out here doing this hookup culture. It's like that everything that we do now does have consequences later on. And it may not be true for this person, but it's true for the mass majority of people. And that's why I'm kind of against this whole like hookup culture and current dating scene, because it's just so casual and there's so much casuality put on sex, and it's just bad. It's just bad for us as a society as a whole.
So I know you feel strongly about the topic. What would you prefer? Like, what would be in a world that you prefer?
Obviously, like, we can't go completely traditionalist, right? We've already gone too far one way, and it's just unreasonable to think. Like, we are growing as people, we are expanding, like, our views and shit. So, obviously, I think, like, the best thing going forward is just be more selective. Like, wait till you get to actually know the person. Wait till you actually have, like, a deeper connection with the person. Like, sometimes it's hard. It's hard, especially at our younger age. It is hard because we got hormones. We got that like raging urge to just.
Hold on. I want to say something about that if I can. So there was actually, I saw on the news the other day. So there's this one university, I forget where it was, but I'm pretty sure people know what I'm talking about. So there's two girls, they're college students, right? So there's like this one like box that they have at school where you could buy Plan Bs for cheaper too, for $25. But I guess the whole university is trying to fight to get it lower. And I mean, obviously, when the dating culture has to do a lot with college life, right? I mean, we all been around college to say, hey, like that's where you kind of witness it firsthand, because there's so many people at once. You got raging hormones, like you were saying, that they just want to do. They just want to fuck, right? So, I mean, to go back to what you were saying, if it's like good or bad, I mean, at that moment, are you really deciding that you want to get married and you want to get tied down?
Of course not. That's not what we're thinking about. Of course not. We're thinking with our genitals instead of our heads. Like, obviously, that's really what it comes down to. Am I wrong? Like, well, we're just thinking about in the moment. Like, but we do have to understand that, like, even if it's in the moment, our actions have consequences on us later in life. And, like, that's kind of like my stance. Is just recognize that everything has a consequence. And if that's how you want to be, and understand, like, okay, let's go here, right?
Let me question you. Let me question you though. Okay. You know how I was saying earlier that a majority of people catch feelings? Maybe there's two people out there that don't. How do you feel about that if nobody's getting hurt and they both agree on that?
you're bringing exceptions into the game, into a game of majorities. We're not talking about exceptions. We're talking about majorities. Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
you're right.
Course, there's always exceptions.
He's right. You got me there. Fuck.
There's always exceptions. Statistically, there will always be 99%, right? There can never be a perfect 100 because there will always be an outlier in the real world. So you could argue exceptions all you want, but when we're talking majority, or we're talking like the masses of people, majority rules.
All right, but like, okay, so you would like for there to be a push in society, or for society to push a narrative which is more in line with traditionalism, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you can consider me a bit more of a traditionalist, yes.
Okay, but I think regardless of what it is that they're pushing on the media, people are going to do what people feel inclined to do. So just from a biological standpoint, as you guys mentioned earlier, humans have raging hormones, especially in their youth. And so as a result, they're going to be inclined to, have physical intimacy. That's just something that, you can't prevent, even in super conservative cultures, I'm sure you guys could think of cultures like that are, or people who grew up in super religious households, and then they ended up being super out there when it came to the hookup culture, and that's a result of them feeling restricted. So I feel like regardless of what society is pushing for, people are going to do what they're going to do. And I feel like if anything, having a traditional mindset, just to play devil's advocate to your point, if anything, having a more conservative mindset is probably going to cause people to want to do the opposite and be more inclined towards hooking up.
But see, that's where we come into like starting off young, right? I'm not saying we force it down these kids' throats. I'm just saying we desexualize the content that we're given to children. Like, porn is more accessible than ever. Like, let's be real here. What age were you guys exposed to porn? Let's go. I was about 8.
So, I have a friend of mine who'd talk about it, but I never saw it firsthand. I remember
I know exactly which friend you're talking about.
Yeah. Too. Little dumbass, but no. I think I was like 13 or 14, and it just popped up on TV. It was like an HBO thing, and I remember I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, but it wasn't one of those like porn gone wild type shit. It was like an actual TV show, like a regular fucking TV show, like a series type of shit, and they just happened to fuck. Oh, bro, that shit was. There was one called like Bikini Time Machine or some shit like that. That shit was so funny.
Do you see why that is an issue? Like, you're literally 13 years old just scrolling through TV, and all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, like porn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, think about that. That wasn't normal. Like, way back when, like before the technology, all this technology. You know how hard it was? You had to steal like your dad's Playboy magazines.
As much as people think that like porn is bad, which it kind of is in a sense. I mean, that's a whole different topic, but I mean, how else are you going to get exposed to sex? To have that in your mindset and say, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. You know what I mean? Like, to kind of have an idea already, because like I feel like you don't have to see that, but I mean, like, in a way, it kind of teaches you and it shows you what goes on before you even do it yourself, right?
So, porn to teach, first off, is terrible. Because is porn, like, yeah, porn is realistic in the sense, yeah, you get to see a penis go into a vagina. But is it realistic? Is it realistic sex? Like, is it realistic sex? Is porn realistic sex? No. It's on average, no.
Bro, come on. Hell nah. You know it's all about show. That's all acting, bro. But the thing is, that shit looks real.
But
they're just good at what they do. They're actors, bro.
But that's exactly the problem.
It's not supposed to be that way. Yeah.
It's like,
it's not.
Traditionally, your parents, your dad will give you the birds and bees talk, right? Your dad, your mom, whoever. A parental figure would
Honestly,
give
I'd
you
rather watch that shit on porn. I'm not trying to get that tall. That shit, hey.
But they teach you what real sex is.
Yeah.
They tell you what it really is.
My parents never really told me about that because
you had porn and you didn't ask.
No, but also too, I think that brings up a different point, which is like growing up in a Hispanic household.
Say, fuck it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah.
Because being in a Hispanic household, bro, like, okay, all right, we're gonna bring up our homie who you mentioned earlier. I would say he grew up in a pretty strict household, bro. Like, he grew up in a pretty strict household, and that boy is like a freak, dog. Like, just he's one of the freakiest people I know, bro. So, you know, with that in mind,
he got caught watching porn at 7.
Okay, again, that's an exception.
No, but I think there's a stereotype with people that it's like, you know, they grow up like in a conservative environment. They're going to want to do the opposite because people are just going to be inclined towards experimenting and listening towards their body. And if you have these raging hormones, all common sense leaves your mind. That's why there's teenage pregnancies. That's why there's all those different types of issues that are a result of being confined towards a super strict environment.
Again, but like, in the past, before we had porn, how would you get your sex information? Schools taught it in a more healthier way. Because nowadays, there's stories.
See, that's the thing, though. Because, look, I mean, I know you're saying schools, but so look, okay. Me and him, we were supposed to be taught that, what, like in middle school?
Yeah.
We went to a private school, and they didn't teach us anything about that. Like, nothing. I don't know why.
I think they, like in 8th grade, we were told that if you engaged in sex, that you would, like, get a disease. They showed us, like, a little clip, like a super dated, like, video from, like, the 90s, and it would say you would get all these different diseases. They showed us the different types of diseases you would get. And then, what else? Like, you risked, you know, teenage pregnancy. You're at risk of, you know, becoming a teenage parent. And low key, bro, I'm gonna be real with you, we had a lot of like, because that's not proper education, right? So we actually have a few homies, you know, who had kids at a super young age, and I think that's because we weren't necessarily taught correctly.
And yeah, I think that's because there is failure in the education system in certain parts. There's a healthy way to do it, and then there's the bad way to do it. And obviously, that was the wrong way to go about it, right? Like, we need to have, as a society, we need to have more healthy talks about it. So yeah, there is a point where we do have to talk about it. We can't be that conservative. Like you're saying, we can't be that conservative where we don't talk about it at all.
Well, yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's like the 90s. That's the 90s mentality, bro. Like, you get a disease, you get pregnant, and then don't have sex.
That's true, but I mean, if you think about all these schools, like, my mom used to say that they freaking put like a condom on a banana or some shit like that.
Bro, I did that in high school. Yeah, I did that in high school.
We all went to private high schools, but we didn't do that. I didn't learn that shit.
Yeah, but like I said, that's where I'm going to. Like, but right now our society's on the completely opposite end. We're like, it's too polar, right? We either have the schools that are super conservative about it and don't want to talk about it at all, and parents who don't want to talk about it at all and don't make themselves approachable to talk about it, and then there's the completely other end where we could just find it on like where we're just finding it in our everyday society, like on TV, just randomly, or like we see it online because it's all over the internet. Like, when you go on Instagram, what do you see? A bunch of, you know, Instagram models. And we're having these conversations about it in unhealthy ways because we're getting unhealthy information from our everyday society. And it would be easier if we stopped, like I said, like, the internet's going to be the internet no matter what. Right? But there's schools out there like actually showing like 2nd and 3rd graders now with a dildo and one of those like pocket things. So like they're going like, we're so polar on this that no one's like, we got to unify it into a healthy manner where we get them before they find it like out in the open and tell them like, hey, Because honestly, porn's a problem. Porn is a huge problem.
See, that's the thing. Yes, that's the thing. They have to show us, because how else are we gonna fucking learn, bro? We're gonna get curious, right? If we don't, hey, it's true. Hey, okay, look, when you're thinking about sex, right, you're gonna be like, what the fuck goes on? Do you want to learn it in school, and they'll teach you in a healthy way, or do you want to learn it on a fucking website where they're showing you people getting dick down and shit that's not happening?
Yeah, I'm saying yes. We need to talk about it in a healthy way, but we need to, like, I understand, like, it's gonna take a lot of time to get there, and it's gonna be hard to get there, but we need to find a happy medium, because, like, we can't be doing that to second graders, third graders, can we? No. And we need to clean up.
See how greedy this dude is? He's not even here. Just let me get a little. Come on, let me get some of that right there.
This guy.
What is that? Ooh, we got a little piece. A little greedy man, yeah.
This guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta find, like, a happy medium. Like, and we also need to clean up our own acts, right? We do. As young adults, we're like the future. We're the future generations. We kind of need to clean up our own acts. Like, we need to, like.
Look, bro, it's a chain. Look, bro, it's a chain. I mean, you know, you'd hope that if our parents couldn't teach us as much as we thought, then we'd be better. You know, we're gonna be better parents.
Exactly, and that's why we're having, like, this podcast like this. That's why we're opening up the door to conversation and talking about, like I said, I'm 23, you're 23 or 24. My bad.
24. Damn, I'm getting old.
Manny 23. We are the future.
Francisco's old.
We are the future, and, like, that's why, like, we want to do this podcast so we can talk about hard to talk conversations.
We are the world. We are the children.
And, like, open up y'all to it and talk about
we are the world.
This guy.
We are the children.
like going back to, like, our original topics, right? Going back to our original topics. Like, we're just coming from, like, dating a hookup culture. And, like, we're talking about how, like, pretty much, like you guys would say, like, hookup culture. I mean, for me, it's negative, right? It's a negative.
Look, bro, look. There's gonna be, you know, people that are fucking, and look, I'm not against it, but I'm not for that. I'm, like, neutral, because it does cause problems. People say it doesn't, but it does. And
yeah,
I mean,
so, like for example, right? Like, my part of the reason too, and again, this is all about just, like, education. Like, to solve that, we would have to educate young, or stop being so. But this, like, it's hard to say. It's hard to exactly put it, right? We got to go back to a little bit more traditionalism. I'm not saying traditionalist is, like, the full way to go, but we would have to help value and upper value a little bit more traditional, you know, traditionalism.
I'm too like this, bro. I'm not against rap, but I am against those thugs.
You lit as fuck on. You lit as fuck on.
That's the thing. This don't even smoke. Hey, that's just the energy. Nah, look. Okay, look.
You getting that second hand food.
I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying. Because, look, bro, the music slaps, right? The music slaps, but it's a different thing to hearing it and living that lifestyle, right? Doesn't mean just because you're living it, that you're hearing it, that you're fucking doing with it.
Ain't you hooking up with hella people? Like, not sleepy with. But
no,
come on,
bro. Hey,
this was out here exposing.
I'm talking to people, yes. It doesn't mean I'm fucking them.
Oh, you getting your dick wet.
Are you not? Hey, that's a whole different thing. Yeah.
So
out the way.
So I'm just saying, like you're in that culture.
It's crazy because this fool just told somebody to come check out his damn podcast too. That's crazy.
Look, I'm not. I don't know why people keep thinking that. Honestly, hey,
stop the cat. Stop the cat.
Having friends, hey, nothing's wrong with having friends, right?
And you ain't getting your little thingy wet down there.
Hey, whatever happens, all right? Hey, I'm not. Hey, look, okay. I'm not saying that it's not happening with one of the girls, or, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't happen at all. Come on, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not out here with like multiple girls like that. You know, I'm just have friends. I mean, when you're in a relationship, it is kind of hard to have friends that are girls, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just taking advantage of that opportunity. If they want to show me things, that's on them. I'm not asking them.
Oh, you're not. Stop the cap right there. That you asking. But
I'm not asking.
that goes to like my question. Like, so it. Okay, let me ask this. To you guys, what is a high value woman? Or like, what do men look for? If we have to generalize it, what do men value in women?
All right, see, okay. I really like a girl that's goal oriented, but it has to be with the same goals that I'm with, because not that I'm trying to be selfish, but if it's gonna be with that person that you want to be with for the rest of your life, they kind of have to be going through the same situation you are, so that way you guys could, you know, or if they're not, I mean, at least support each other. So
essentially you want a girl that's like supportive.
That's
like at the base. The base of it.
That hold on, there's a couple things too, and I want a girl that's independent too. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need a man. But at the same time, that's still kind of sexy, though. You're just like, damn, that's sexy. Like, she could do it on her own, right? But I like a girl that could put me in check, too. I don't always got to be right. They could be right, too. And they put me in my place and they tell me where I'm wrong. I'm like, all right, I'll own up to it. I want somebody that's going to, you know, challenge me. Someone that's going to make me better, and I'll do the same vice versa. It just depends on the type of energy you give. I mean, if you're not giving that type of energy, like, you know, why would you want to reciprocate it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm asking, like, generally, what do most, like, that's what I'm saying, generalize it. What do most men
those are
want?
the three things that I think I value when it comes to women.
But I'm saying.
I mean, there's usually,
I'm agreeing
you have
with
to have little values in a certain woman, right?
No, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm asking you, what do most guys value? Not just you, but like the majority of guys value.
So you're saying sex?
So you're saying that guys only value sex?
I mean, from the dating type of culture, you're basically saying they just want to fucking fuck. I mean,
like, no, and a high value woman, and like, and call it like to make their wife.
See, that's
I don't really know, honestly, because I can only tell you what I want. You know, I want somebody that's funny. If I'm going to spend my time with somebody, I want somebody that's funny, somebody that's ambitious. And yeah. Somebody that's loyal. Most importantly, somebody that's loyal, bro, because I don't want to be with somebody that I can't trust. I mean, that sounds basic, but that's what I need.
Basic boys. But hey, look, bro, when it comes to women, there's no such thing as a perfect woman. So, you know, when it comes to those high values, it's all dependent amongst each other what you want and their values. That's
except
what makes
for
them,
my woman.
That's what makes them a high value person.
There's
for
no
yourself.
such thing as a perfect woman except for my woman.
Come on, I mean, see, that's the thing. He got his girl, right? And those little values that she had, or those high values in his eyes, that's what gets him going. That's what says, you know what, I want to be with her. You know,
okay,
I want to be.
If I can get
that's
y'all,
wifey right there.
Let me see if I can get you all to agree to this. What I'm going to say right now. Most guys, when trying to pick a wife, right? Would you say that he wants her to be supportive? Correct. Most guys. Francisco. Yeah. Okay.
Francisco wants a toxic girl. He don't want no support.
So generally, guys want a girl that's supportive. What did you want? A girl that's kind of like a caretaker, who's going to help take care of you, who's going to hold down the household, right? Like someone who's going to be like your rock, right? Like when you come home to that person, you want that person to make you feel better, right? Right? Like we could agree to that.
And that's part of the support. I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah. So okay. So we want someone who's kind of like a caretaker, provider, supportive caretaker type. That's most guys, right? And
you're getting this off the internet?
Huh?
Where are you getting this from? Or you're just
I'm asking you
off top?
This is like generalizations, like something that we could all agree to, right?
Okay.
Guys prefer women who are generally more youthful, right? Either youthful and just looks, or actually youthful, right? Guys don't want to be with a girl that like looks hella old, right? Like Most guys, I'm talking most guys, when you're trying to pick your wife, yes, there's always
Okay,
ones.
I don't know about that right now. I mean,
Yes, there are some, but would you marry
Most
a girl?
That's literally what I was about to say.
Would you marry a girl that's like 10 years older than you?
Nope.
Not right now.
No.
No,
So
look,
like,
not right now. I mean,
no, even when you're like, I'm just saying, your wife, is she gonna be 10 years older than you?
look, bro. Honestly, I feel like
What's the oldest you guys would date right now?
right now? Fuck, well, I'm 24. Probably like 28.
All right,
Like 30.
But the thing is,
30.
But
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. I mean, all these girls, bro. Once you're 20, they already got kids. You know, they got baby daddies all over. Right?
We'll say 20.
Nah,
Oh, you
in the
messing
late 20s, they
with
have, like,
them
3
east side girls.
hold on.
That's
Listen to what you said there. Hold on. You just brought up another point of mine. You call it like, you want a girl who's like pure, right? Like you just said, like, oh my god, once you start getting up there in age, they all got baby daddies. Because you want a girl that's a little bit more pure, that doesn't have that in her, right? Like you don't want a girl that has a baby daddy to make your wife. I'm talking about making your wife. Like dating, yeah, we could talk about dating. I'll go up in age if I'm gonna like see a girl and just hook up, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, it don't matter at that point. Age don't matter. But I'm talking about your wife, your future wife. Do you want this girl to be, that much older than you? Like, no, generally you want to be and again, most men generally want to be the older one in the relationship. Am I wrong?
call me crazy, but I think to marry the most, I'd have them be older than me is probably about like a year.
So okay, exactly. So then we would agree to marry, youthfulness is important. Marry.
It's an interesting way of phrasing the question, just because I don't think most people would think about it that way. If I met, somebody, say I met my girl, right, and I didn't know how old she was. We started talking, we hit it off, we're chilling. I then find out she's like 5 years older than me or whatever, and I didn't know. Well, then, I mean, so be it. You can't control love. It's not like, but yeah, I mean, just to gain my, I guess, physical attraction, like what I'd be attracted to, is obviously going to be somebody my age. I feel like I'm not, there's always those people that are exceptions who are into older women, but they kind of stand out from the rest of men, and I think that's why they have labels.
But that's kind of exactly what I'm saying.
No. Hold on. No, it's because look, hold on.
Because
said my point.
Manny literally just made my point for me.
Okay,
because again, we're into youthfulness, so youthfulness could be in looks too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting way of stating it.
It's just an interesting way of stating it. But youthfulness is important to guys. We want a girl that is either looks youthful, or we want a girl that is youthful.
Say this a lady.
I mean, youthful in a way, because look, if you think about it, like we were talking about Kim earlier, right? How she's like dating so many people, right? When she dated Pete Davidson, right? Why did they split? They had different things going on for themselves. Obviously, like when people are apart in age, they're not similar in what's going on with their experiences, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I guess that's what my question was going to be. Would you date somebody who was 60 or 80, but they looked 20? They look 20. What are you doing? Are you dating a woman who...
No, because if I want to go skydive with them, bro, they're going to fucking die.
No, but they look 20. They have the youthfulness. Shit. They have the youthfulness. They look youthful, but they're in reality 80. They got the Benjamin Button disease.
Are you bringing up a realistic example? Because can we really find an 80-year-old that looks that young?
Well, I mean, I heard, they're starting to create, like, different types of surgery and different and different types of, like, okay, we take Kourtney Kardashian, right? Kim Kardashian's sister. They're all in their 40s, 50s, bro. They don't look like they're 40, 50. But let's be honest. Would you guys
we're
date
exceptions here?
No, but I'm saying,
very,
but this is for the sake of conversation. For the sake of conversation, yeah. Because money, yeah, more than likely you're gonna date an older woman if she's like, if an older woman who looks like Kim Kardashian tells you she's going to take care of you financially.
But am I
Come
gonna
on.
marry her?
I don't know. Would you?
Hey, to get that bag.
Come on.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Are you gonna marry her?
That's the question.
No.
You wouldn't marry her.
No.
Oh, you're tripping. He's tripping.
Then y'all aren't marrying for love. Then y'all are marrying for money. That's a whole nother issue and topic that we can talk about later.
I'll be married like to love, but I'll be in love with the money.
Then you're not a high moral guy.
Yeah.
And then that's not like a high like.
But who determines
that woman.
morality though?
Huh?
Who determines morality?
Morals?
Exactly. Who determines morals?
I feel like that's just like general.
But morals are subjective.
Oh my.
Morals are subjective. Okay,
right
no,
there.
well because
you're opening up a can of worms.
no,
right
okay,
now.
well because I'm saying right. Morals. Who deems what's right or wrong? Like let's take the Catholic Church for example, right? One of the 10 Commandments.
Again,
one of the 10 Commandments. One of the 10 Commandments. Look, and I literally have a cross on me right now, right?
Dude.
But one of the 10 Commandments is to not steal, to not kill, to not whatever. There's a whole list. Thou shalt. Okay. And how was it founded in the Americas with colonialism? You feel me? So for somebody to determine what's right or wrong, you gotta question who's stating what's right or wrong. You feel me?
So is killing someone good?
I don't know. Is it? No. Okay.
Obviously,
Obviously, we're all entitled to our opinion. I'm just, opening up conversation.
Again,
I'm opening up conversation.
Let's go into again. We're trying to generalize as much as we can here, right?
What the fuck?
But why we gotta generalize?
Because we're talking
in your direction.
No, we're not. I'm not trying to generalize in my direction.
Okay.
You guys are bringing up very minute exceptions here.
But they're the topics that need conversation.
No, we don't need to talk about people. We can talk about that elsewhere, but right now we're talking about what is a high value man or woman, right?
Okay.
So in the general sense.
We already talked about what we think in a woman. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So what do we think about a man? A high value man.
Whoa.
Here's the question: what do women generally look for in a man?
Well, I mean, I think what women look for in a man versus what we deem to be high value,
is
completely different. Exactly.
So I'm asking you. Mm-hmm. That's why I phrased the question like I did last time.
Okay.
What did generally women consider a high value man?
I mean, and for you guys at home, this is the conversation that Andrew was arguing with some women over. And so the women that we were speaking with said that women don't have I guess like a strong idea in terms of what they determine to be high value man. They kind of just base it off of what they have as their personal characteristics, but there's kind of no like flat line. So that's why I was asking Andrew to kind of clarify and
okay, let's try this. I'm gonna throw some like traits out there and you guys see if you guys can agree.
Okay.
So generally women want security out of their man. Am I wrong?
You're right.
I mean, I can't answer because I'm not a woman. I'm not a woman, but I would think so.
Okay,
I don't see it in a bad way. I just see it as like so they could be like
they want to feel protected. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they just want
generally
everything to be.
Yeah,
I think that's anybody though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but this is for women. We're talking about women specifically here, right? So generally, women want security from the man. They want to feel protected.
Yeah.
So then, what did you say they want? Generally, women want time with their man, right? They want that alone time with them. They want that special time. They want that time to feel special. Am I right?
Okay.
Yeah, bro. I think every girl's kind of clingy.
And then most women want resources, right? They want to make sure that their man could provide for them. Like if times get tough, their man's gonna step up and do it, like make shit work. So they want resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what women value in men. So if a man, like a high value man to a woman, and which is why standards are so high right now, is like women want, I want a man who makes $100K, 6 figures a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women are like, then that's because they want resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then women are like, I want a man that's like 6 foot tall.
Gold diggers.
All women are gold diggers to an extent, yeah.
So why are you asking us the question if you got the answer, my boy?
Well, because I want to see like
Our personal opinion.
Like,
I mean,
guys-
what I think a high value man is, right, is somebody who takes care of his responsibilities. So if one of your responsibilities, right, you have a significant other, you have a wife, and one of your responsibilities as a man is to contribute towards putting a roof over her head, contribute towards putting a roof over your children's head, then I think that's what makes you a high value man. At the end of the day, everybody's situation is a little bit different. So if you own up to those responsibilities, I think that's what makes a high value man. Say now you're an individual man, you don't have a significant other, then I think your only responsibility and duty is to do yourself justice, to do yourself some service, to work on yourself, to build yourself to be the strongest man you can, mentally, physically, and to become the best person possible for yourself first. To be confident and proud of yourself. You may not even have to build up yourself. You could just be super confident in yourself and love yourself already. You just need to come to terms with loving yourself and then giving that to the world, and then giving that to another person if that's in your lane. So that's what I think it means to be a high value man.
See, for me, when it comes to like a high value man, I just feel like every girl has a different perspective of what they would want in a man. But for me, obviously I don't want to be the breadwinner. I want to be the person that is there for my kids. I feel like you have to be a big family man when it comes to that too. When you're a high value man, a big family man, cuz that's like I'm not saying like my parents, I'm saying just that family that you build yourself. With your wife and then your kids, whatever. That's your own specific family that you built on your own. So you're the head of that family. You're the one that has to be, not in a sense overprotective, but kind of you do. I mean, not to be like over with it, but you have to. So I mean, don't get me wrong, like we talked about before. I mean, if a woman wants to work, right, then I mean, go ahead. But I would want to be the one to just provide everything. It's not that I'm trying to be that head guy of the house and just, use that against people. It's just that's how I view myself as being like a husband / father.
Yeah, that's what kind of brings us to our next thing is just like, so that's what we determine like, that's what women value, and that's what men value in women too, right? That's why I was kind of pushing that, and kind of part of the reason why I was kind of pushing that, for the high value woman part, was because that brings us back to this hookup culture stuff. Because like if we're valuing those things, right, we're valuing the family, we're valuing the like the stuff we were just talking about.
See, I think we're talking about a high value man when it comes to being in being married, but maybe we should talk about like being a high value man just ourselves.
And that's why I mentioned that, because I felt like being a high value man has to do with taking care of your responsibilities. You don't necessarily need to be in a relationship. You don't necessarily need to have kids to be taking care of your responsibilities. You could be just a single man, bachelor, living on your own, and your responsibilities may be paying the rent for yourself, just being a normal functioning part of society. So I feel like for me personally, like I like going to the gym, although it may not look like it. Your boy ain't swole like that yet, but I feel like that's my duty to myself. That's my responsibility to myself as a man, to be healthy, to take care of what I eat, which I need to work on. But it's okay to be cognizant of understanding what you need to work on, your some of your flaws, in order to better yourself. Humans, we're constantly evolving and bettering ourselves, and we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard, because I mean, we attract what it is that we what we are, so if we want better of ourselves, if we want better in life, then we need to do better for ourselves, and we're responsible for ourselves and for our own future, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of whatever situation we came from. And that's what I'm personally always seeking for. I'm always seeking to better myself, to better my situation, and to look back a few years and be like, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of putting myself in uncomfortable situations and growing, because it's made me into the person I am today.
Okay, so going off that, hold on. That's exactly why I'm saying this hookup culture. Like, I obviously, for you, Manny, it's irrelevant. But for like me and Francisco, that's why this whole issue of like, oh, like we got to be working on our future. We got to be thinking of our future. Like, that's why there's such a problem here with this hookup culture. Because if we know it's bad for us, if we know it's negative, then why are we doing it? If that devalues us as a whole society, why are we sleeping around so much? Why are we like, it may not even be full intercourse. Why are we just having sexual encounters with so many people when it devalues us as a whole?
So I can't speak for everyone that does it. This is just my opinion on why I think people do it. If some people, they just like that. That's who they're always going to be. A dog, or, just doesn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to do that.
So that devalues.
I'm saying for the people that don't want to stay that way, the people that just want to just kind of go through the experience, I feel like some people just want to get that out of their system. Once you actually tie yourself down to that significant other, you don't have that in your mind. Like, you're just like, whatever, like that doesn't matter anymore.
But we were just talking about establishing behavioral patterns. And if that's a pattern they're setting now, and then people are just going to go fall back into the pattern when things go bad, when things go wrong. Like, we were just talking about, like, that's how people are setting the pattern up and setting this. That's how they're going to say, oh, this is how I'm going to live my lifestyle in the 20s. I'll grow out of it. But then you never do, because that's your behavioral pattern. That's all you've ever known. And that's all you're emphasizing right now. If you're emphasizing your future now and you're forward thinking and realizing like, oh, if I set this behavioral norm now, then I may never grow out of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's such an issue. Like,
so you're saying it's like, it's starting to become a bad habit for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, think like we as a society, right? Like I said, it correlates. High body counts correlate to higher divorce rates later in life. Like, there's studies that support that, and I can plug those into the description. And then
but correlation is not causation.
So biologically, again, we go into the oxytocin fact, right? So if we're constantly having more sex, we're numbing ourselves. So there's a bit of causation there, no? Wouldn't you say? If we have so much sex, we numb ourselves to the effect of sex, then that is kind of numbing it, no?
I feel like this, watch. I feel like when you're out and about as a man, to an extent, because you're saying, why is it that we have hookup culture? As a man and as a woman, you seek validation in the attention that you get from the people around you. So as a guy, for example, dudes brag about their body counts because they say, yo, look how many females I bag. Look how well I'm doing for myself. There's obviously women out there who think that I'm, attractive enough, or I'm doing well enough financially, to where it's like, as superficial as it may sound, that's the reason why a lot of us are doing it, right? That's why people want to go to the gym, because a lot of people aren't going to the gym because they're saying, let me just better myself. A lot of people are going to the gym for a superficial reason, which is why I want to look better so that I could attract more women. So it's a form of validation, and it's that payoff, right? So they worked out enough, and now they feel strong enough, and now they feel like they're super in shape, and now they have a whole bunch of women looking at them. Well, that's that validation. Wouldn't you say that's that payoff to why they did and put themselves through all that hard work and sacrifice in the first place?
I agree with that.
Okay, look. If we're gonna take it to that point, I mean, I feel like people in that instance become more confident in themselves, right? As to, well, let's say people like aren't in the best shape, right, and they don't feel any type of confidence in themselves, and they're not able to like have intercourse as much. You know what I mean? Hey, I know we're taking it to a whole different level.
No,
but,
I mean, you're exactly right. Right. Because, hold on. So, like, I hate to say it. I do hate to say it. But there is a double standard between men and women when it comes to body count, right? Men are born with very little to no sexual value. We have to earn it. We have to go work out. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to stay fit. While there's girls out here that are more average looking that do have plenty of attention and plenty of options because maybe they're chunkier, but they hold the weight a little bit better. Maybe they got some big old, like a big old butt, big thighs, but got a cute face. You know what I mean?
That's the first thing you gotta say, huh?
I'm just saying.
There's actually a video on that, which I feel like we can react to after. That reminds me of the video. This guy did a whole scientific breakdown of like the reason why there's kind of like this, trend in terms of, women are getting all this attention. And then in terms of men, the men that get all the attention are like the 1%. Whereas like 98% of women are getting attention from dudes of every range class, super good looking, not the best looking.
Yeah, I've heard I'll try to fact check and I will say, but I've heard people, throw out ideas that like the average looking girl will have as many sexual options as a top 5% guy. I could be off like the exact percentage here, but definitely a average looking girl will have as many suitors as a superstar guy. And
it's easier for girls to attract guys.
Well, that's because women are the gatekeepers, right? That's what I'm saying. There is a double standard. Guys have to work. Guys sleep with who they can, while women sleep with who they want. Women are the gatekeepers. And when they start sleeping around and hooking up, they devalue themselves. It's bad to say, but a woman who has been passed around, who's been ran through, doesn't make for a very high value woman.
Run it up.
Like, she's not a highly valued woman in the sexual marketplace anymore. Because if so many people have been there, like guys are like, been there, done that. Or like, how likely are you to sleep with a girl that your buddy's already messed with? Like, nah, like that woman's already taken. She's already been used. Like, as bad as that sounds, it's true though, right?
She's already been stopped.
Exactly. Like, that's why like higher body counts devalue women more than it devalues men.
So like for you, for example, right? Let me ask you a question, right? So for you, what's the max number of body counts for you that you feel like you wouldn't date a girl no more?
Oh, I wouldn't date a girl no more? I mean, like, for me, like, I will still get to know the person, and if I still vibe with her in different ways, obviously, like, I'm not 100% closed-minded to this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, you start talking, like, if you really think about it, you start talking, like, especially at our age right now, and you start talking like 15, 20, I'm gonna have some question marks.
All right,
like
15. So 15 is that's the no
age. For our age.
Yeah, so that's
like
the no
15,
safe zone.
20, and like I'm gonna start asking little questions. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But like, again, it's not gonna completely turn me off from the girl. There's gonna be other factors to it, but it's definitely like kind of a red flag, wouldn't you say? Like, you guys can agree to that. Like, if you're actually getting serious about this girl, and you found out like at 23, or imagine, like, especially if we want to date younger, like if she's 21, because I was kind of like, for me, like, it's gonna be hard for me to date a girl that can't drink with me at the bar.
What's your body count?
Ha!
You're giving me shit.
I'm someone that call it the 20s. Very low 20s.
Damn, Andrew.
Nah, I'll be honest.
Andrew's a dog.
Yeah, I used to be.
Where did this predominantly take place? In Texas?
This happened in 1 year in Texas.
Damn.
Most of it happened 1 year in Texas.
So tell us a little bit more about Texas. How do they be getting down over in Texas?
We're talking about, okay, we're from California. We're from the Bay, to be specific.
Yeah.
Right? And we're talking about what we see around here. How was it in Texas?
Oh, I mean, like, I was a shits over in Texas. Like,
well, so what's the dating culture like? What are the women like? Give us a rundown.
It's generally the same thing. It's just I was a highly valued man over there. I was more higher. Valued.
You know what? Fuck that. What's up with that? Why haven't you taken us out there? What's up with that? Hey, you gonna explain to us right now? But the more you explain, the more I'm gonna get mad at your ass because you haven't even took me there.
Bro, when's the last time I took a vacation? I took my first ever vacation career-wise this year. So, like, I haven't been taking very many vacations. I haven't been doing a shit ton of overtime. You've known that for the past, you know how long. That's why I haven't really traveled. Trust me, there's a lot of traveling I want to do. Hell, I was supposed to go to Vegas, but shit happens.
But what would you? Okay, in Texas, what would you say the women are interested in? What are they interested in over in Texas?
Pop. Watch, you'll
soon.
You'll see us soon.
No, it was the same. It was just like here in the Bay Area, we're a cultural pot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more to be seen here, right? So like, I would kind of say like as attractiveness wise too, is like you lose a couple points coming to the Bay Area. There's some very beautiful women out here, and there's some very attractive guys, right? So out in Texas, kind of the Goonies sometimes.
Oh, so you're saying there's like
it's the same culture. It's the same hookup stuff, same whatever. It's just like an average looking guy could be a little slightly above average over there and do better for himself. And especially like me being from California, it also gained me points.
Okay.
So, but like again,
people in Texas fuck with people from Cali, or what's up with that?
I mean, yeah, especially in Austin. I mean, they call it a liberal. They call it a liberal, blue dot and a red sea because it's more liberal there. It's the vibes are like Santa Cruz and like UC Berkeley type of vibes.
So you were in Austin?
I was in Austin. But anyways, we're kind of getting away from like the topic.
No, this is good. This is part of the topic at hand, because we have to delve into your dating psyche. We need to see how it wraps around into your current. We gotta basically
see when you were.
But see, like the reason why I'm so against the hookup culture now, and like I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say I'll never, participate in promiscuous sex ever again. But like the reason why, like for me, like ideally,
because you will.
Ideally, like I want to be in a relationship with a girl and have a deeper connection, or at least like be in the works of forming that deeper connection. Because to me, like the connection of it and making sex special again is important. Because I feel like it's just been so devalued. It's been so devalued, and it's just like I said, it's just like another act that we do now, just like holding hands and kissing. Like, oh, you're gonna start making out in the room, like it's always gonna lead to sex. Like that kind of feels icky to me. Like I'm more traditionalist. I think sex is something special.
So wouldn't you argue that people need to go through that same cycle as you in order to come to terms with having that traditional mindset?
No, because I think because of the media, because of my ability to things at a young age, desensitized me to that kind of stuff. I then a lot of it has to do with also like the new movements that we have, like the feminist movements. Like I think like how they preach that body count doesn't matter and tries to not look at the consequences of things and focus on the time and now. I think that's where things go wrong. Especially at that time of my life, I really wasn't focused on my future. I was focused on just enjoying the moment, enjoying the time. But now that I see it has some serious consequences in my future, so now I'm going to be more against it. And if I was educated on those consequences earlier, I would have been more cautious. Obviously, no matter what.
You're basically saying that shouldn't be a priority. Your priorities weren't set.
Exactly.
You're just basically about fucking.
Yeah.
Busting a nut?
Huh? Square? I mean, isn't that the point of like hookup culture? It's just busting a nut?
But what if someone were to argue that's what it was for you, but that's not what it was for them?
Do you regret doing it?
I don't necessarily call it. Yeah, I kind of do.
At that moment though, when it was happening?
Of course not. Like I said, because at the time of my life, I wasn't focused on my future. I was focused on the then and now, and I was only focused on feeling good. Right? Like, that's most of the reason why people hook up. Some people try to argue like, oh, I need to hook up with a bunch of people to find myself. What are you really learning from hooking up with a bunch of people? What are you really learning about yourself? Like, what are you like? Yeah, you can argue. Oh, I'm finding out what I like out of sex, right? Like, yeah. Oh, I'm trying to figure out if like what kind of styles I like in sex, so this and that and this. Okay. But then it's just like, okay, so sex is no longer a special act. It's an act that like is done every day. It's an act that's just not special. It's so, I can't pronounce the word. It's so commonplace for you that you have to have sex in certain ways to get off, instead of it just being a special act.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you. I was curious to know what your follow-up question was after this one, because I feel like we have been on a similar topic for a while now.
Oh no, to be honest with you guys, we're already at question 4.
We're already okay.
And that's the last question. And I already kind of looped this one in. It's that feminist and toxicity, like the feminist question about like how far have they gone too far, and like that's what I was kind of saying. Like this whole idea of, like body count doesn't matter, like that they try to push, but it obviously we just talked about how it kind of does matter, and kind of like we got to think about our consequences. We got to think about our futures. And like another part of the feminist movement, which this is going to be really controversial for me to say, is the whole body positivity movement.
Okay, well, give your piece on it then. Give your piece on it.
I'm definitely someone who's all for body positivity, but I would say I'm more for self-care in terms of body positivity.
Okay, so elaborate more. What does that mean?
Like majority of people out here who are obese and fat. I'm not saying all. Of course, there are always exceptions. But majority of people who are obese, even myself, I've been told I'm obese countless times.
Bro, you don't lost how many pounds? Let the people know.
Oh, I've probably lost like 15, 20
pounds.
pounds.
1,000.
In the past, like, I don't know how long. In the past but that's all because...
Honestly, like, for real, though, on some real shit, like, you could tell the difference from high school. I mean, he looks...
No, I can tell the difference from the last time I saw this fool.
Yeah.
From our birthday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know why I'm doing that? You know why? Because I'm making more of a conscious choice to be healthier, to eat less, to do this stuff. And yeah, it's giving me confidence. It's giving me this and that. And like, that's kind of like what I want. Like, my idea of body positivity, self-care should be being pushed. It's take care of yourself. Like, yeah, it may suck. Like, you know, like, I'll be honest. I used to eat like 8 burgers in one sitting. Like double cheeseburgers.
Shut the
Why?
fuck
Because I would get high and I would have no self-control.
Stop lying.
No.
From where?
McDonald's, Jack in the Box, whatever.
Which burgers?
Like the cheap burgers.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait.
This boy said which burgers,
bro.
bro.
You said
He wanted the
I'd be
rundown.
like, you know what? You're my god, bro. Honestly.
No, like the double cheeseburgers.
I was about to say, you know what?
Swear to God, I'll get 4.
You would have to be in the next commercial, bro. Honestly.
Bro, I used to. I'll get like. hey, honestly, real talk. I'll get like 4 double cheeseburgers, 4 McChickens, and then like 2 large fries.
You're not down to do a mukbang for the boys?
This fucking guy. but I'm just saying, like, because I didn't have self-control, because I wasn't making the best decisions for myself. And I'm not saying that, like, obviously there's people with genetic disorders who can't lose weight.
Do you think? What do you think was the stem or root of that?
Because to me, that's how I relaxed. Like, I'd get stupid high. I like, oh man, that work was so hard. I'm just gonna get stupid high. Then I'll get the stupid munchies, and then there you go.
Is that something that you've always dealt with since your childhood?
And I just love food.
Yeah.
I know that about myself.
Yeah.
But if I love food, and there's every once in a while I'm gonna eat a good amount of food.
Yeah.
I know I gotta work out. I wasn't working out. Now I'm working out.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing things to be healthier, right? Because I realize, like, you know what? My body's important. My self-health is important. My self-care is important. And I got to stop being a lazy ass and get off my butt and actually be better.
King shit.
So, you know, this kind of brings back to, like, just speaking that into about being a high-value man. You think that makes you a high-value man when you really care about your health? I mean, people see it as like, oh, you don't have to be like hella fit or like have a six-pack. Okay, that's not what I mean. You could go to the gym and you could still look the same, but that's not the same though in terms of you going to the gym and you don't feel the same. Because you know when you start running, you feel like more healthy.
But that's my point though.
Instead of it showing, you just feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like,
sometimes when I go running, it's not about me trying to look good.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like it's therapeutic, bro.
Exactly.
After you're done, you just like you feel good, like you feel like you could breathe more. You know?
That's my point. My point is that instead of pushing for body positivity, we'd be pushing for self-care and stop lying to like the bigger girls that are actually like obese and telling them that they're beautiful no matter what.
Why you attacking the big girls?
Because I used to be
because
a big boy.
no, hey, I
No, but
agree with that
and
because I know people like that, and that's the thing. No matter how many times you tell these girls, they're not gonna believe you because maybe they will, I don't know, but from what I think, because I see that in myself. When people would tell me that, like even when I was bigger, like it didn't sit well with me because I myself wasn't happy with myself. Sometimes it's not even about what other people tell you; it's about how you feel. Doesn't you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they're trying to mask this whole idea that they got the reason, like they're bigger, so and it's okay. Like right, like the whole positivity movement is about like you're beautiful no matter what you look like, and generally like these more like bigger girls have other stuff going on, right? They have.
All right, but I just want to say this, right? I think you brought up a good point in the fact that you said it's about self-care, and I think we did a good point in bringing up that self-care, because I think on media people show self-care is just being stress-free, like go get a massage, go like do that, but it isn't always that. Like self-care is
massage.
just like a little back massage, something like that, just or binge watch TV, or eat all your favorite foods and just watch TV and sit there all day, and I feel like people have that confused sometimes, because self-care can be the things that are hard to do, the things that you don't want to do. Self-care is going to the gym. I mean, you don't have to, but for me, for example, like it's like annoying to wake up to have to go to the gym. It's not something I want to do, but after I do it, what I feel is like next level, so I know I need to do it. It's just like eating healthy. It's just like eating your vegetables. Literally probably until last year, I probably did not eat any vegetables, which is terrible for you. That's so bad. But I know that I need to eat my greens.
Got a basic ass diet.
I know, that's what I'm saying though. And like once I started eating my greens, I was just like, damn, I feel so much better. Just like I feel like I have more energy. I just feel overall in a better mood. And that's self-care. Self-care isn't always just sit down, eat all you want, watch your favorite TV show. I mean, that could be part of it, to relax every once in a while, but that needs to be in moderation.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like what I'm saying. Is that like the body positivity movement and like the people really pushing that are feminists are just trying to use this as a cop out from doing all that other actual self-care. Like they're trying to say like, oh, you could be as big as you want, so you're not accountable for your actions, when you should be. Because frankly, like weight is something that we could all control to an extent, right? Like obviously I'm 6'2", I got a kind of a bigger frame. It'll be hard for me to be like 150, right? But we could all control like how big we get. We could stop ourselves from being unhealthy. We could stop ourselves from like being obese, right? Like, because obviously you see people and they're like, oh yeah, he's like, he can barely walk.
See, the thing is, like, there's people thinking like, oh, fuck that, they're talking about fat girls and they're devaluing them. It's not that, bro. Come on, like let's be real here. Like, I could tell the difference from when I was more bigger, that I couldn't really get as many girls, compared to like when you start losing weight, you kind of start to see your frame more. You kind of start to see like your more beautiful features, right? Because obviously when you're bigger, it kind of covers everything. It kind of gets in the way, so you can't really see that person. Obviously when you start to like lose weight, like you kind of glow up in a sense, because I mean that's considered healthy. I mean, people say, oh, well, that's not like, you don't have to be like, skinny to look beautiful, but I mean, kind of do in a sense, not to be fucked up, but I mean,
well, I mean, yeah.
But why do we, I guess my question is just like, why do we keep bringing up women? Like, I feel like Cause to be honest,
Hey, that's for men too, though.
no, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're talking about like feminism or whatever, but we're really applying all this logic to ourselves. I mean, because at the end of the day, like you said, Andrew, there's no incentive for women, for example, to
I mean,
there's really no incentive, because you said it yourself, like the level of attention that women on all ends of the spectrum are getting is equivalent to the top 5% men. You know what I mean? So
There's average.
yeah, on average, right? So like there's no incentive, and on top of that, I think we should just focus on ourselves, since we're applying all this logic to ourselves. Like what do we really want to happen? You know what I mean? Like what do we expect from this?
no, the only reason why I said that is because, like, I mean, when it comes to women, when it comes to a guy and a girl, who's chasing? Who's the one that's trying to make the move first?
The guy.
Right? So the girls are always the one complaining, saying, "Oh, well, the guy's not going after me because he's saying this and whatever." Like that, that they're saying that we're trying to say that they're fat. But
Wait,
the
when has that ever happened?
The reason why I bring up,
I'm just saying, like, that girls get like kind of you know what I'm saying?
I feel like if anything, guys get more like. I feel like if anything, guys think, oh, because I'm bigger, I'm not gonna get any girls.
well,
That's everybody. But I'm just saying, in terms of the only reason why I point out girls is because they're the ones that are being chased. They're the ones that at the end of the day, I feel like they're the ones making decisions to say, okay, I want you. It all comes to them with everything.
So then,
with
if they have the
sex.
power, then why would they want to work out, even if they're getting attention
I don't know.
without going to the gym?
That's what I'm saying. So why are they complaining if we have to pursue them?
Right? Well, who's complaining? I feel like we need a woman on this podcast to give her opinion on that.
I'm saying for bigger girls.
Listen. Okay, so the reason why I bring up the body positivity image or the body positivity moment is because who is that aimed towards? Because you're right, it's not aimed towards us men. It's not.
So then
for men, we are ridiculed for not being fit.
But we need to lift each other up then, if that's the case. We need to say, look, bro, and to an extent we have created like a cult. We've created this brotherhood. Like I feel like with women positivity on the rise, like sure, men don't comment under each other's photos, but with hard eyes and all that, but we don't need to do that to show each other support. Like we can all hold each other accountable and show each other that brotherly love and support.
In the world of equal, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what feminists push for.
Mm-hmm.
Feminists push for equal everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones over here lifting up women for being fat and all that, and low key, and kind of fat shaming us guys.
No, but
look.
I think they should lift them up. I think go ahead, lift them up. But at the same time, it's our duty as men to say, bro, like, fuck your opinion. Nobody cares about what you think as a woman. We as men have each other to hold each other accountable and say, look, bro, like we grow through, like, either be happy with who you are or change that, and I'm right here next to you, standing right beside you if you want to change that. Like if you want to go to the gym at 4 in the morning, I got you, and I'll be there right next to you.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, look. So there was a girl that I was talking to, right? And then she sent me a picture of herself, and she kept saying, oh, like, you're not gonna like me because I'm fat, this and the other. And I was just like, okay, I'm not even saying nothing. Like, just why are you over here even trying to show me how you look, right? She shows me. She's like, but I'm pretty, right? Like, this is a perfect. I'm like, I want to tell you that it is, but you're forcing me to tell you that just because you don't feel good about yourself.
Because women.
Was she pretty or not?
Yeah, she's pretty, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna lie to her just because she wants to at that moment. You have to say, you know what? No, like, you don't.
Yeah.
Not in a fucked up way though. Say like, I know you're not happy, and that all comes to you. I'll be here to support you, but I'm not gonna lie to you and say that you do, because deep down you're just doing that as a trick question because you're not like, you're not happy with yourself.
But you see what the issue is, right? The issue is that men are held accountable for their actions while women aren't. Am I wrong there? Isn't that a problem in society?
I mean, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying in that sense. But at the same time, though, it all comes down to like personality. You feel me? Like me as a guy, like I just wouldn't feel nice telling a girl that she's big. But at the same time, I wouldn't feel nice telling my homie, because just as a person, I wouldn't feel nice telling my homie that he's big either. You feel me? But I can like be like, hey, bro, you know, if you ever want to hit the gym, dog, like I got you, bro. We out together. If you need a gym buddy or whatever, you feel me? Like I got you, you know. But at the same time, though, I think it's a matter of like how confident you are in yourself as a person too. Because I've seen big dudes say, bro, look, I don't need to go to the gym. I get females regardless, and I just got it like that. You feel me? So
Yeah,
you
those
know.
are exceptions.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
But again, like I said, like that's what that's what I'm saying is like there's a double, like that's a double standard. Guys, we have to work for it, right?
yeah, I mean,
And then that's why it's like
me personally, like, I'm not complaining. I take it for what it is. I can't change a whole society. I want you know, women out there, big girls, whatever the case may be, I want them to all feel confident about themselves. I want my homeboys to all feel confident about themselves. At the end of the day, I guess if you're going to push body positivity, push it through and through as a whole, or push that accountability at the same time. You feel me? I think if it's a guy or a girl, I don't care. If I got love for you, if I'm with you on that level, like I'm close to you on that level, and you tell me you're unhappy with yourself, then come on, we out to the gym. If you're a guy or a girl, if you are happy with yourself, then cool, bruh. You don't need nobody to tell you any different. Be happy with yourself, because that's you genuinely happy. If you're lying to yourself and you're in denial, then that's a whole different situation.
Exactly. No, it is, because if people seek validation from other people, they're never going to be happy, because the only true happiness is that self-love. It could be a guy or a girl. If you're forcing someone else to say that you look good, but deep down you don't feel that way, why are you seeking that? You're just lying to yourself. You have to go find that happiness within yourself and say, you know what? I'm happy with this. I don't need to ask other people, because when you don't love yourself, you can't love others. Whether it be a guy or a girl, just to keep, reiterating that.
yeah, and that's why
especially when you get in a relationship.
Yeah, that's why I think instead of promoting body positivity, we promote self-care. That's why we promote, because that's not what's being promoted. What's being promoted is self-love. You're beautiful no matter what. Instead of, if you're not happy with who you are, you could change, and it's okay to change. And it takes hard work and it takes accountability, but but men and women are held to different standards.
And that's when people argue and say, oh, well, a guy should love me for who I am, and I love myself. And shut up. I mean, maybe some, but I'm saying, like, some people just don't. Like, they,
But yeah, that's my argument. Is like,
Exactly.
That's why we should be promoting self-care instead of body positivity. We should promote love yourself, take care of yourself.
Well, I think us as men, we can promote self-care. You feel me? Like, I think we can promote self-care amongst each other, and I think for the most part, we're all on that same front. And be like, yo, bro, because I think, like you were saying, like, yeah, certain guys may not be the most attractive, or they may be bigger, and like you were saying, they're going to get more slack for it when it comes to the dating scene, because there's for sure women out there who will be like, I don't like, bigger dudes. And with so much selection out there, the bigger dudes may or may not be at the end of the line of what they find attractive. So yeah, there's truth to that, in the sense that we're held to different standards. But if that's the case, then yeah, pushing that self-care front is a good idea for men as a whole, in order for us to say, you know what, just focus on yourself, bro. When the time is right, A, you'll meet somebody who likes you for who you are, or B, you'll meet somebody who meets that transformed version of yourself.
It's funny because, like, when we talk about this, okay, look. it's like a whole big like spiral, bro. When you think about it, all these girls they do not want to get with the guy because they think they're not good enough, right? Or they want to be proven that they're good enough. So then they decide to have sex with a guy, and then they devalue themselves. So then it's like a ring around the rosy type shit. Like you end up just fucking yourself mentally. You know what I'm saying? Even whether it be a guy too with a good looking girl too.
And that's exactly why I believe hookup culture is bad for society.
Y'all want to get dessert after this?
I mean, we're talking about hookup culture, that type of dessert, or
And I think that's the perfect way to end it. Because honestly, it is a huge circle. Being a high value man means we have to constantly work on ourselves. Being a high value woman means she has to constantly work on herself. And it's just, it literally circles all back to the same argument.
Because even when you keep working on yourself, right? Let's say a girl's like, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship because I have to work on myself. At the same time, she's not going to be happy because she's not going to be in a committed relationship and she's going to be in just hookup culture. So then you're not really working on yourself. Do you get what I'm saying?
And that's why hookup culture is bad.
It is. But I mean, you know, some people like that. Hey, you know what? I don't discriminate. And so anybody, if they want to do what they got to do, you know, do what you got to do. With every action comes a consequence.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Basic Boys ENT. Stay tuned for more. We're going to be doing reactions, podcasts. Tap into all of our social medias. Links down below.
All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you.